Hi guys, Unboxing Tech here, and I have the iPhone 16 Pro and Pro Max versions to try on a whole slew of different cases from different brands. Let's get started. First off, we have the Ringke Onyx case. The Ringke Onyx is a case made of TPU, which is a flexible material. This one has a magnet inside, so I don't want to bend it too much. The magnetic version is about 35.9 grams. In comparison, the non-magnetic version is 32.6 grams. Here it is with the case on. There is a slight texture on the back of the case, but it does feel very smooth to the touch and not at all abrasive. There's also a micro dot texture on the sides for extra gripability. It also has lanyard holes on either side. We can see that the bottom cutouts are made to fit the phone. The power button, volume button, and action button are all covered up. However, the camera control button is left uncovered, which does give you better access to it, but leaves it vulnerable to scratches and other damage. There is a lift around the front screen, and the back camera bezel is fully covered up with a substantial lift around the camera lenses. The Ringke Onyx is very sleek and slim with a minimalistic design, although you won't be able to see the iPhone's natural colors. The Ringke Onyx Magnetic is MagSafe compatible, so you can use it with MagSafe chargers and other accessories without issues. You can also find the Onyx case in different colors and different styles. Continuing on, I have another case from Ringke with the Ringke Fusion-X. This is a hybrid case made of TPU sides and a hard polycarbonate back. The Ringke Fusion-X weighs around 32.7 grams, making it a pretty lightweight case. Here is the black case on the black titanium iPhone. It looks pretty sleek, but I kind of prefer it on the black camo, more for the black titanium peeking through the subtle camo pattern. This case does feel very rugged and protective, though it does still feel easy to hold due to the micro dot texture on the sides. And I would consider this a slim case as well. The cutouts on the bottom are centered well. The textured buttons are all covered up. But then again, the camera control button is still left open and uncovered. There's also lanyard holes on either side of the case, plus a third extra lanyard hole at the corner here. There are lifted edges around the front screen. The back camera's bezel is very well protected, and there's a lift all around the camera. Overall, I recommend this case for someone who wants a bit more of a unique, clear case. The sides are opaque, so there is zero danger of it yellowing with use, and it does have a bit more oomph for protection compared to standard clear case designs. This is a great case. Moving on, I have 3 different Kevlar aramid fiber cases from Benks. These are for the iPhone 16 Pro Max. This one is the Armor Pro 600D. It weighs around 43.3 grams. It's made of a very protective 600D dew point Kevlar fiber. Although it does have a fiber weave on the back, it does feel very smooth to the touch. A little slippery, if I'm gonna be honest. The cutouts on the bottom are very tightly cut to fit. The buttons are all covered up by the case for extra protection. but the camera control button is left open and uncovered. And maybe it's because of the thicker edges, but I had a little bit of a difficult time using the swiping function of the camera control with this case on. There is a very slight lift around the front screen, as well as the back camera. This other Benks case that I have is also made out of a Kevlar fiber, but this Armor Air case is way more slim and lightweight at just 31.8 grams. It also has a bit more texture compared to the Armor Pro case, and the overall slimness makes it very easy to hold. However, for the sake of remaining this slim, it doesn't cover any of the buttons. And there are large gaps where the buttons are. It doesn't have much in the way of screen protection either. However, the camera does have about the same level of protection as the Armor Pro. These Benks cases are definitely of a higher price point, but not too bad considering they're made of a carbon fiber material. Next up, I have the i-Blason Armorbox case, which is a hybrid case that has soft TPU sides and a hard polycarbonate back. This is a truly rugged and protective case, as you can see from the design alone, but it also comes with a front screen cover. It's also a bit on the heavier side at 83.9 grams. It does feel noticeably more bulky, but sometimes you're willing to suffer that for some good protection. The sides have a bit of a design that you would find on tires. It's pretty good in terms of gripability. The back design can be a bit of a hit or miss depending on the person. It's not typically what I would go for, to be honest. On the bottom, you can see that the cutouts around the speakers are perfect, and there's a dust cap for the charging port. The buttons are all covered up and easy to press despite the thickness of the sides. One of the main draws of this case is actually that the camera control button is covered up by the case. If you look closely, you can see that there are these copper conductors embedded into the case, and it allows you to use the camera slider as intended, even with the extra coverage. It's very cool. Of course, the front screen is super protected with the lifted edges and built-in cover. The back camera also has a cap over it for protection. Plus, you can use it as a kickstand as well. The i-Blason Armorbox is a MagSafe case, so you can use it to charge your phone and with other accessories. Similar to the Armorbox in terms of protection, I have the Supcase Unicorn Beetle Pro, which is a hybrid case with flexible TPU sides and hard polycarbonate back. This doesn't just come with the case and front screen cover, it also comes with a belt clip, if that's your jam. With just the case and front cover, it weighs around 69.2 grams. Altogether, it weighs around 144 grams. This case also feels pretty bulky overall, but I do prefer the quieter design that it has. The sides are matte, and they have a powdery feel for extra grip. The cutouts are perfectly aligned, and there's a dust cap to keep your charger port clean. The buttons are all covered up, and this case does leave open the camera control, but the huge dip here looks kind of funny, no lie. It's also a little difficult to use because of this huge difference. The screen protection, however, is unparalleled. And the back camera has a huge cutout with lifted edges as well. The Unicorn Beetle has a built-in kickstand on the back that you can pull out and set at a single angle like this. If you want to use the belt clip, just stick it on your case and it should hold firmly in place like so. Let's go back to the more classic cases with the Spigen Liquid Air case. This is a fully TPU case that's lightweight at 28.9 grams. It has a triangular Triforce pattern on the back with these ridges on the side that's supposed to help with grip. But I don't know. The cutouts on the bottom are centered to the speakers and charger port. The buttons are all covered up and easy to press. The camera control button is left open for easy access, but minimal protection. There is a very slight lift around the front screen, and the camera is left fully open, but it also has a slight lift around it. It does feel very slim though, so if that's a priority for you, this isn't a bad case to have, and it's at a very affordable price point as well. Another on the list from Spigen, and a fan favorite, is the classic C1 case. It's a bit of a unique hybrid case that has a CPU lining on the inside and a hard polycarbonate shell on the outside. It weighs around 48 grams, not the lightest case in the world. It does have a very unique look to it to mimic the original Mac computer from Apple, I believe. It doesn't have much to help with the grip, but I wouldn't consider this a slippery case either. On the bottom, you can see that the cutouts are made to match the phone. The buttons are also covered up and easy to press as well. Due to the double layer design, there is a bit of a dip at the sides where the camera control is, but it's easy to use the slider. If it would pop up, there we go. However, that cutout looks huge. There is a minimal amount of screen lift, and the back camera is also left open with a very slight lift as well. Despite it being double layered, I don't know if I would consider this a protective case. I think it's more of a unique design, which it does do very well, make no mistake about that. I do remember it being on a higher price point, so I would just recommend this to people who absolutely need this look on their new iPhone. It is a MagSafe case, so you can use it with MagSafe chargers and accessories. Next, I have the Caseology Parallax Magnetic case. It's a fully TPU case that feels pretty slim, and it is lightweight at 37.7 grams. I really do like the Parallax's unique design, although it is purely aesthetic, and it doesn't do much in terms of protection or grip. The vertical ridges on the sides also do very little. Here are the cutouts on the bottom. The buttons on the sides are also covered up for extra protection. The camera control is left open, but it's fairly easy to use due to the wide cutout. Although the rounded edges kind of make it awkward to hold with one hand. There is a slight lift around the front screen, though not much. The back camera is left open with a slight lift around it as well. As mentioned before, this is a magnetic case. You can use it with a MagSafe charger or accessories. Another case I have from Caseology is the Athlex Mag case. It's also made from TPU, and it's pretty lightweight at 38.2 grams. I kind of like the pillowy, cushiony design that's going on. However, this case is really rough to the touch. It's great for gripping the phone, but it almost feels like I'm running my hand across sandpaper. It might actually start irritating my palm after a longer use. The cutouts are fine, and the buttons are all covered up for maximum protection. The camera control button is also easy to access and use thanks to the wide cutout. There is a very slight lift around the front screen, and in the back camera, that's left open. The magnet in the back lets you use it with a MagSafe charger or different accessories. Honestly, unless you have very rough palms to begin with, I would avoid this case unless there were some improvements to the texture, as I can't really recommend it in good faith due to the overall rough texture. Moving on, I have the Flickstand case from ESR. It has softer silicone sides with a clear polycarbonate back. It weighs around 47.5 grams, so it's a bit on the heavier side. It does look really good with the titanium black, but the sides do feel a little slippery due to how smooth they are. I know I just complained about the other case being super rough, but there is a perfect balance between too smooth and too rough. The Ringke Onyx case is a good example of a perfectly balanced case. Anyway, the ESR does have a single lanyard hole on the right. The cutouts on the bottom are perfectly aligned, and the buttons are fully covered up as well. The camera control button on the case has a closer cutout, and it's easy to use the slider function due to the slim sides. There's a pretty good lift around the front screen. The back camera has an open cutout with a slight lift around it as well. As you can see, one of the main draws of this case is the kickstand on the bottom. You can't really set it to a specific angle, but I think the one angle that they give you is ideal in terms of usability. Plus, there's a MagSafe magnet on the back that you can use for MagSafe charging and accessories. I do prefer these cases with the straight edges compared to cases with the rounded edges. They're just easier to hold. Let's go back to rugged protective cases. This one is the ESR Tough case. It's a double-layered case with a soft TPU inner side and a hard polycarbonate shell. It's definitely a heavier case at almost 70 grams. The textures and materials used on this case makes it feel very grippy, although it is fairly bulky as well. There is a mesh netting around the speaker cutouts, and they have a dust cap covering the charger port as well. The buttons are all covered up and easy to press. Due to the very deep cutout around the camera control button, it is slightly difficult to navigate around with the slider function. And despite the protective nature of this case, the lift around the front screen is pretty average. And the camera is also left open, but it does have a deeper lift, as this camera cover also turns into a kickstand. I would consider this a slimmer, more subtle rugged case, especially compared to the i-Blason and Supcase from before. The magnet on the back is also great for using with MagSafe chargers and accessories. Continuing on with the kickstand cases, I have the Ostand case from TORRAS. This is a hybrid case with TPU sides and a hard polycarbonate back. It weighs around 44.4 grams in total. It does feel very slim, and the slightly shaded polycarbonate back does look really good with the black titanium. The cutouts on the bottom are fully aligned, and there is coverage on the buttons that are easy to press. The very slim sides make it easy to use the camera control slider as well. There's a slight lift around the front screen, and the back camera is fully cut open with a slight lift around it as well. The MagSafe magnet can be used as a kickstand, and while you can use it for charging, I wouldn't recommend using it for accessories like pop sockets, as pulling it off wrong can damage the case and remove this kickstand altogether. I do think putting the kickstand with the MagSafe magnet does give it a very clean look overall. Next, we have the Slim Fit magnetic case from TORRAS. It's made purely of polycarbonate, and it's our lightest case at 23.7 grams. This is a simple minimalistic design and a slightly matte texture with the overall slimness that does make it very easy to grip and hold. The cutouts on the bottom are made to fit, and while the buttons are covered up, I feel like they're slightly difficult to press compared to the other cases we've seen. The camera control button is left open, and it's fairly easy to use thanks to the very slim sides. There is a minimal lift around the front screen, and the back camera is left open with a slight lift around it as well. This is a slim case with a MagSafe magnet in the back. To keep the overall slimness, I do imagine that they're using a slightly weaker magnet, as I can tell that the hold is not that strong. On the flip side, if you're looking for a case that will eat your wallet, the Mous Limitless 6.0 case. It has what I imagine to be TPU sides and an aramid fiber weave on the back. It weighs around 40 grams, which isn't too bad for a MagSafe case. It does have a very sleek, clean look. And although the sides are slightly textured, it's not the grippiest case in the world. There is a single lanyard hole right here as well. A word of warning, it's something I noticed right off the bat, but this edge right here, it's incredibly sharp. And as this is part of the phone that you would hold often, it might get annoying after use. Here are the cutouts on the bottom. The buttons are also covered up and very easy to press. The camera control slider has a super wide cutout. I suppose it's to make it easier to use, but it just leaves less of the area protected as well. The front screen has a very substantial lift around it, and the back camera is left open with a subtle lift as well. For a $75 case, I kind of expected more. I've seen the ads where they throw the Mous case from impossible heights. I'm not doing that in this video, but it doesn't feel any different compared to any of the other cases I've reviewed thus far. If you think it's still worth the price point, let me know in the comments, but I do think it's just a marketing ploy and there are better cases out there. And these are all the cases I have today for the iPhone 16 Pro. It is my first time reviewing this many cases in a single video, so let me know what you think in the comments below and let me know which case looks the best to you. Anyway, thanks for watching until the end. I'll link all the cases in the description box, so check them out. I'll see you guys next time.